What's up, party people? I'm running a tarot table for the first time tomorrow. Today, while I'm packing and sorting out my mental stuff and my physical stuff, I wanted to share with you about the process of setting up this tarot table. I'll share about the space and why I'm interested in them. I'll also share with you the signage and things that I made, the decks I'll be working with, and then hopefully I'll have more clips of the day of to share the process. So why Kubo LB? Why do I want to vend tarot readings? They're a Filipino-owned creative community space in Long Beach. They really highlight and support small businesses from people who are Filipino, BIPOC, queer. Their space in Long Beach sells a lot of art and wares from different artists, different small businesses. They also host a lot of community events every single month. All of their events are focused on building up community. I've been to a handful of their events. I've met a couple of cool people there. I really love their audience that they reach and the way that they run their events. They also host a couple of small markets every single month, and they advertise these markets as a great way for small businesses and new vendors to come and try things out. So I decided, let me give it a try as well. If I eventually decide that it's not for me, it's okay. I'm giving myself that flexibility. Ultimately, this is for fun. If there are things that I don't enjoy about this, I hopefully can find the things that I do enjoy and channel them into other avenues of connecting with people, connecting with community. Now to share about the process of setting up the whole table and stuff. I'm borrowing a table from my dad. I'm borrowing some stools from him as well. I also designed signs. Having to sit down and really power through this was really difficult. I was on call with my friend. This was a 2 to 3 hour online call, just hanging out as I'm mentally muscling through just making a simple freaking sign. But you know what, now that it's done, I'm really proud of it. Here is the sign, the main sign. I designed this on Canva. I didn't use a template. I printed this out on regular computer paper. I also added in watercolor after the fact because we only have a black and white printer. I hope that it really shows my personality and my artisticness. The sign is going to sit on this little easel that I got from Daiso, which is basically like a Japanese dollar store. It's gonna sit like this. Ta-da! Here's my scan to pay sign, my Venmo, and my Zelle. At this time, I'm not taking credit card because I don't want to set up that whole thing. This is another easel from Michaels. Little sign for the handwritten tarot readings I'm going to include. In addition to the regular tarot reading services, I'm also going to offer mystery tarot readings in this box. Ooh. I got the idea from other artists and businesses who like to do gachapon or mystery, grab bag, those types of things. So every envelope will have 2 handwritten cards. There are no cards actually included. And I'm actually using these gentle tarot journaling stickers that I received from Benny to create 2 little card readings. I don't use journaling stickers much in my own tarot journaling, so I figured this would be a great use for them. I really enjoy making and decorating these little cards. I've got little stamp details in the corners here. My favorite 2-card spread is the release and receive spread, explanation of the card and questions to ponder or journal about. All the things that I love thinking about in tarot and asking myself and pondering, I get to put it onto these cards. And also I have to remind myself, if people don't take these super deeply, that is okay too. I don't have to take every tarot reading that deeply. I don't have to expect other people to take everything that deeply either. It's all okay. Also, this paper mache box was made when I was in middle school, so I'm repurposing it now as a little, card envelope box. The decks I'm bringing, there are 3 decks that I feel like are the best fit and the ones that I'm most comfortable reading with. It's interesting looking at all of my decks. I enjoy so many of them for reading for myself, but when it comes to reading for other people and thinking about which decks have imagery that is clear to understand, can resonate with a lot of people, and which decks have imagery that I can easily explain and convey to other people as well. So the 3 main decks I'm gonna bring, the Way of the Panda Tarot, one of my first tarot decks. This is a classic Sarah tarot deck. It's vibrant, it's expressive. I know this deck so well that I can just read different feelings from these decks and I can spin different stories with all of these beautiful expressive pandas. The Queer Tarot is another one that I'm bringing. Now, if you watched my video ages ago about how I said I wouldn't buy Rider-Waite-Smith clone decks, don't quote me on that because you know what, mine's changed. I bought this secondhand. You know me, I love my secondhand decks. I am really, really enjoying it. Yes, it is a Rider-Waite-Smith clone because it's all the Rider-Waite-Smith characters and scenes and symbolism redrawn, but I see that it also adds more of its own spin to these cards. The 7 of Wands, for example, the creators added all of these beautiful different stars. It makes the background so vibrant. I believe the guidebook mentions that these are modeled after real people. It really shows a lot of different skin tones and different body sizes and abilities as well. Some of the backgrounds have been changed to be darker, which actually adds more visual interest to the deck as well. The outfits in this deck are so amazing. It's just a visually fun deck. And one more thing I love about this queer tarot is that these individuals, even if not in relation to other people, we are still queer. And I think that's something that people might not really think about. Like when we think of queer people, we only think of like who we're attracted to and who we're in a relationship, a romantic or sexual relationship with. But queerness can just be the fiber of your being. You don't have to be in a romantic or sexual relationship with anyone of any gender to be queer or to not be queer. Defying like the binaries, the norms that are put upon us, that is queerness. The third deck I'll bring for now is the Little Avatar Tarot by Push Kitty. Avatar: The Last Airbender has been one of my favorite cartoons. The ways that it pays homage to and incorporates and integrates like Asian martial arts and different aspects of different Asian cultures, I really enjoy it. To be fair, I don't want to put the creators too much on a pedestal because they are like two white guys who have like cherry-picked different parts of Asian cultures to synthesize into this like generally Asian inspired like cartoon show. But to take it lightly, I enjoy the themes of Avatar. I enjoy the character arcs that the characters go through. And I think that this deck by Push Kitty is really spot on. So those are 3 decks that I'm gonna be bringing to the market. I might bring this card stand. This is by James R. Eads, who created the Cosmovisions Oracle and Prismavisions Tarot and all that stuff. I might bring this to have a couple of cards on display from the Sacred Incantations deck. All of these cards are, you know, trans-inclusive, trans-focused. They talk a lot about like ancestor and community support. So I think these could be really cool cards to just have on display throughout the market. Tarot cloths to, you know, decorate the top of the table and also zone different areas. My little tip jar, this lamp for extra lighting, little ambient light. I might bring string lights, but since I'm indoors, maybe I don't really want to bother with that. So that is the setup and the packing for today. See you tomorrow. Bye. We are done. We're done. It's 9 p.m. We're wrapping up. Time to go home. The oily eyelid strikes again. We are home. I have not unpacked anything, only dug the camera out of my bag. It's now 10 p.m. right after the event. Driving back, I did not have any music on. I needed some quiet time. I remembered those short videos where people are like, the extrovert self is like, oh yeah, I'll see you later, bye, see you later, bye. They get in the car and they're like, that was me in the car. Immediate thoughts. I really enjoyed the event. I enjoyed vibing with people. I enjoyed having the slow build up at first and then definitely a ramped up towards the end as more people came in for readings. I feel connected with people, which is what I wanted from choosing to do this whole tarot table thing. Even though oily eyelid strikes again, like the rest of my eyeshadow was pretty intact. Earrings, lips, my favorite big bow. I'm glad I got to just show who I am today. I'll leave it at that. I'll check back in later when I feel like it. See ya. Hi again, it's Sunday. I'm feeling quite refreshed after having a full day to potato and emotionally and mentally recover from the Friday market. I want to recap what I experienced, also share how I felt reading now versus reading years ago when I was newer to learning tarot and newer to reading to other people, and also share my thoughts on if I would do markets again. Spoiler alert, I would. I'm also watercoloring my planner for the next week. I have recently gotten into watercolors. Thank you to my pal Casey for gifting me one of their watercolor sets here. It's really satisfying to add different colors and different patterns and stuff to the pages, just for the fun of it, really. Wetting each paint first, letting the water sit. Sometimes I'll use this like little pattern booklet as like inspiration on what colors and or shapes to add. Truly, the point of all this is just to have fun adding some visual interest to the paper and really not worry too much about anything precise. I actually bought this rainbow tarot this past month. I've just been intrigued by Rider-Waite-Smith decks again, and I also wanted to have like colorful options to bring to my markets. I have been enjoying just looking through it and understanding like the language, the visual language of this deck, the art style. Huge props to So Lazo for this art style. It's really, really cool and very pretty. I'll shuffle and draw a card as inspiration for each of the days. Okay, the Nine of Swords, I see like a lime green, not even lime green, lighter than lime green. The colors here are yellow and pink. I'll use that as inspiration to add onto my page here. So the market overall was a really enjoyable experience. The setup for the market started at 5 p.m. and I'm glad that I actually went there at 5. Initially I was thinking like, oh, what if I could just be there at 5:30? It shouldn't take that long to set up. But no, I realized like it's gonna take me more time than I think I need to set up. I was kind of getting the sense that it's like good business practice to show up at the time that people expect you to show up to set up as well. I was reorganizing my setup a couple of times. I had my setup for me on one corner. After that was all set up, I decided I wanted to sit on the other corner instead. So I'm glad that I used all that time to set up. I went around and pulled cards for every single vendor there as well. Well, I wanted to, but I didn't have enough time at the beginning. So now I know if I want to do that, I gotta start like 20 minutes earlier. I started like 7 minutes before like the market kind of started, so I was feeling pretty rushed. I was also kind of like riding the wave of adrenaline, you know, the wave of like excitement, like the market's about to start, kind of getting my last like prep in before doing my own market thing. I also pulled cards for the rest of the vendors after the market as well, so I was able to get to as many people as I could. When the market started, it was pretty casual. People could just go into the store and go around the store whenever they want. It wasn't like a market where people paid to get in. I was definitely a bit nervous at first. Whenever I feel like I'm idle, I get self-conscious or worried that people are really noticing me. It's that feeling where you think people are noticing you more than they actually are, you know? So now I know it's okay if I feel like I'm a little bit idle for a few minutes at a time. I don't have to like stare or like really eyeball everyone else. I don't have to look so buried in doing something else either. I can just sit and like take a few deep breaths, just observe. That day they also had a community shrine for the families affected by that incident in Vancouver, for that Filipino family. So there was a community shrine for people to, I guess, observe and just be present with, be in solidarity with. My first querent popped by around 6:30. I thought it was 6:40. My husband, Andy, thought it was more like 6:20. I don't really know what time was. She seemed really interested and sat down. It was a fun vibe. I had a pretty steady flow of querents throughout the rest of the night. I didn't feel like I was waiting too long between querents. I did have time to eat my apple snacks. I also had my husband get like some brownies and ube pastries from Ube for You Bae. I love her ube brownies. Her brownies are delicious. With the decks that I used, the Way of the Panda, the Queer Tarot, and the Little Avatar, people really loved them, and I loved reading with them as well. On Friday night after the event, I sat down and journaled out every querent that asked me a question. I journaled out the topic of the question and the different cards that I pulled for each of them. I have an uncanny memory sometimes of remembering like exactly what cards I pulled and what I talked about. Every reading feels very personal and very different to me. And so journaling these things out is a way for me to offload them from my brain so that I don't have to keep lingering on them and having them pop up in my brain over and over. The Little Avatar had 4 readings, 4 requested readings. The Panda and the Queer Tarot each had 2 requested readings. At least 8 readings, if I remembered correctly, which is, you know, pretty amazing. I was worried that reading with the Avatar Tarot, I would get really bogged down in the specific characters or the specific stories in each card, because it's a fandom deck based on a TV show. Surprisingly, as I was flipping over the cards, I was able to not get too bogged down in those details. Like, I didn't have to worry specifically about like remembering the specific scene in the show. If I did remember in the moment, then yeah, I could apply it. But if I didn't remember, then it wasn't a big deal either. That's a pleasant surprise, right? Like, I felt more in flow than I expected. Because I'm impatient to let this watercolor fully dry, I'm gonna blow dry it and make it dry real quick right now. Okay, that's good enough for now. Let's do some more pages. I'm using bits of like old newspaper between pages to make sure it doesn't leak, because hell yeah, recycling. The next inspiration, ooh, the 8 of Cups. Red, white, blue, light blue. I've already been using blues, but I don't mind using them again. Part of the function of this recap is also to help myself remember for the future, like what to do, what's working, what I'm experiencing. Sometimes it's easy to forget what I felt like in the moment. So if I watch this back in the future, I'm gonna remember like, oh yeah, this is what I felt like and what I needed to do. After the market, it's hard to do anything else, so definitely take that time to just really decompress. Don't do anything too mentally straining. Let myself come down after that market. Like I mentioned, I journaled all of those readings at night as well. Like I'm siphoning out these things that I picked up from other people. When I feel very bogged down, journaling is a very grounding practice for me. All Saturday, I had no plans, no expectations, a little bit of tidying up here and there, but I also just played a lot of games. I also tried to film, but I wasn't really feeling on top of it. So now I know for the future, like, just don't expect myself to have any activities where I really need focus, because having all that focus for the market is already a lot of effort for me. But today, Sunday, I feel good to chillax with y'all again. Now I want to talk about reading now versus how I used to read. Part of why I felt interested in doing markets was actually because my friend Katie, she did a fundraiser last year for a documentary that she's been working on, and she was doing tarot readings to help fundraise at that same event. So Katie was doing all the readings and I was doing the administrative help of like getting people queued up for the readings as well. So it was cool to be a part of that reading process and experience it again, but not have to do the readings myself. Got me thinking about like, what would it be like to do markets, to set up, come out to the public, engage with people in real time this way. And there are two main things that I feel differently about now than I did before when I was reading tarot 2 years ago for other people. One is that I used to really rely on spreads. I used to really enjoy a lot of structure in tarot readings, and it would really satisfy me to know that every single card has a specific spread position, and I can explain these spread positions to people. Nowadays, I'm actually more comfortable with reading cards in a free-form manner. I guess I've just absorbed a lot of pattern recognition from practicing reading tarot and studying tarot over the years, and also doing my various tarot studies for myself. So that pattern recognition, all that practice has helped me be able to read more like on the fly. I can hear the context of what people are sharing and then put down 3 cards and then start spitballing based on the context and the 3 cards on the table. I don't need spread positions anymore. So that feels like a level up in a way, being able to read more freeform compared to specific spreads like before. Let's do another card for the next page. Ooh, the Knight of Wands. So this one we've got greens, we've got like plus signs or something. No, they're salamanders, my bad. Pinks, greens, salamanders, okay. The other thing now, I realize now that when you're a querent, querents don't know nor care about all the ins and outs of every single part of the reading. A lot of the tarot nerdery, the brain sparking and excitement as I start making connections, querents are not gonna know nor understand nor care about those things. And honestly, that is okay. Now I'm at the point where I actually have other solid tarot friends, communities that I can engage with. Like I have my tarot YouTube channel here, I have my tarot group chat, I have my tarot and witchy, Discord servers where we can actually talk about like tarot related things. That is where my outlet of tarot nerdery and things can go. But when it comes to reading for querents, it is important to just keep the message concise. And if the querent walks away just feeling bombarded with information rather than, okay, I know the clear message of what I have to go forward, that means it was an ineffective reading. Whether you use spread positions or not, the querent is not going to know nor care because they're not the ones doing the reading. Querent can only just watch as you do your magic. I used to feel really attached to the querent's reaction, almost like I wanted their approval, or I wanted their feedback, or I wanted their good reaction. I think it's a very normal human thing, especially when you're new to things, and you just want to know that you're doing a good job. Now, I feel more grounded in knowing that I do know how to read the cards. Of course, I want the reading to be effective for the querent, but I also understand now the goal of my tarot reading is not to fix or help other people in a deep, long-term way. That was something that I attached to my readings before. I would attach so much importance to my own readings, which honestly is very egotistical. Now, especially with therapy, I've been understanding and experiencing the importance of just sitting here and being with ourselves instead of being in a rush to fix or to solve or to run away from. Past me would have wanted to find some solution that would have solved their problems freaking forever. I would feel sad when I can't provide that kind of solution. But realistically, no one can. Like, there's no magic wand that's just gonna fix everything. I'm just here to read the cards. I'm here to sit with the querent and listen to them and give them a space to share what is really on their heart. All I can do right now is provide maybe a check-in of some sorts or simple next steps to do. A different point of view than one they would have gotten by themselves. The lesson is to not get so attached to the outcome, not get too attached or involved emotionally or mentally in whatever other people are going through. The best that we can do is just to sit here and be in community with other people, even as messy and imperfect as we are. That can also be really wonderful and very helpful as well. Take out some water from here, then dry these pages. The first person that I saw watercolor their journal was Sylvia of Tarot Magpie from their desk diary videos ages ago. So thank you to Sylvie for inspiring me to get into this. It is really fun. Let's pull a new card for inspiration. The 10 of Cups. We got rainbows. This one is an interesting rainbow. It's got yellow, red, blue, pink, green, purple. So not a traditional rainbow sequence. The last thing I want to talk about in this section is future markets. I really liked vibing with other people in Kubo. I liked meeting the staff. Coordinating with the staff has been super easy this whole time. Kubo is very supportive with their vendors. They make sure to advertise their vendors leading up to the event, and they post stories about them. So I also want to advertise Kubo in return. I've also been looking into other markets in the area, just seeing this whole new culture and world that I never knew about before, I live in Los Angeles County, and there's a crap ton of markets happening all the time. I don't think I want to do all of these markets though. The reason I wanted to do Kubo specifically is because I like the demographic that they attract. I like their space, I like the other things that they have to offer, and I like the people that they attract as part of their audience. I would definitely do First Fridays at Kubo again. I'm also interested in doing Fourth Fridays, which is not specifically at Kubo, but it's in another nearby street in that general Long Beach area. Fourth Fridays is actually outdoors, whereas Kubo is a mix of indoors and outdoors. When I was vending at Kubo, I was indoors in their store. So I was already in a part of the community space, surrounded by all the other things that they were selling and the community shrine and the food inside there as well. So I feel like the vibes for an outdoor market would be different, and especially outdoors at night. Kubo's vendor fee is low compared to other markets. I heard their vendor fee is $65. Other markets, they range from $105 to even over $200 for some of these bigger cultural arts markets. If I want to get into some of these other markets where there's a higher vendor fee, I want to get more of my crap together, attract more people to make back the table fee. That also means more potential people to come through, which means more mental prep needed in advance to prepare for all of these different people. A couple of the vendor applications I saw also require a picture of your table setup, so that's also interesting. A lot of vendors sell things rather than services. Besides tarot reading and other divination services, I'm actually not sure what kind of other services people might provide at markets or festivals. I guess face painting, right? But I'm not sure what other kinds of services might be provided. That's an interesting contrast to providing a service of tarot reading or other divination versus selling wares jewelry or your pottery or your art or things like that. Speaking of selling art, my tarot reading envelopes that I handmade throughout the month, only one of them sold the whole night. It's actually kind of a relief because it means that I have less pressure on myself to make a whole bunch of stock beforehand before doing another market. So now I can focus less on creating handwritten tarot readings in advance and just focus on doing the actual reading service the day of. Maybe I could just send the handwritten tarot readings to Kubo or to some other store to just sell in store then and have proceeds benefit whatever they want to benefit, honestly. I'm also aware that vending for 3 hours, let's say 4.5 hours, including setup before and takedown after, I mean, not including the drive over there, but being there for 4.5 hours compared to vending at markets that are all afternoon, a 5 or 6 hour market, I understand that those are very different as well. So to recap things I'm now learning about, vendor demographics, vendor table fees, audience demographics of the people that would attend that market and that would be following that page, the location and the time, being indoors versus outdoors and being in the daytime versus the nighttime, and the duration of the event as well, being there for 3 hours at Kubo versus 5 or even 6 or 8 hours, a full 10 to 5 event kind of thing. I'm glad that I went through this experience. I'm glad that I was processing the anxiety and the anticipation as it was coming up throughout the month. Throughout my whole life, I have never been one to take many risks. Some people are starting whole new careers, or they're trying new activities or ventures that they're not sure if they're going to succeed. I've never been one to do that. I applied to schools that I knew I would get into. I took classes that I knew I was going to do fine in piano when I had to do exams and recitals. I chose pieces that I could already play without too much extra learning. So I was just not one to take many risks, challenge myself in many ways. That's more what I mean to say. So this market, putting together the sign and having to commit to that, having to stay focused enough to engage with this whole process, creating a page, figuring out how much and what do I want to post on it that is intentional and authentic to me, they take a lot of focus and a lot of effort, and it was challenging. And yeah, it gave me anxiety a bit, and it's like, why can't I just go back to my regular routines when I didn't have to deal with any of this stuff? Overall, I knew this is what I wanted to do, and now that I've experienced it and worked through it at least once, I want to keep giving it a try. So we'll see if I continue doing this for like the rest of the year, or even just the next couple months, or even just once. That is okay too. That's all part of the experience, Okay, I think that's all I had to say for today. There are other pages that I have to color, but we're chilling. It's a fun time. It's a chill time. If you've done markets or attended markets, done tarot reading at markets or at community events or group events, anything like that, I'd love to hear about your experience. If there's any other things that you have done or that you'd like to do that are challenging for you, I'd love to hear about that as well. May we continue to work through our anxieties and reteach our nervous systems that just because we're having anxiety doesn't mean this is a bad or scary or dangerous thing to do. We're gonna keep going because this is what we want to do. This is what we need to do. All right, that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.